It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Testmiles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Well, good Sunday morning to you and welcome to Testmiles. I'm Nick Miles, and today another special show. On the road, we are traveling at this time through Savannah, Georgia, but the show will be a lot more than just traveling through the roads of Savannah, Georgia. We're on a ride and drive with the new Mini Clubman. This is the estate car version. Mini don't like us to call it a wagon. The estate car version of the Mini. And joining me is my fellow auto journalist from the Fast Lane Car and the Fast Lane Truck, Roman Micah. Roman, are you enjoying Savannah so far?
I am, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate the chance to talk to you and your viewers about this new car and about this driving experience where we're enjoying ourselves on a beautiful sunny morning in Georgia.
So let's talk a little bit about this Mini Clubman. Mini long history. 1959, Alex Izagonis was asked to design a four-door family vehicle that would be economy driven, so it was cheap to buy, cheap to operate, and easy to park in what was an ever-growing busy United Kingdom, where more and more people were packing into the country. By the way, if you don't know how busy the United Kingdom is, Great Britain, we're talking about some area the size of Oregon, and Oregon has 3.3 million people in it. The United Kingdom has about 70 million people in it. So it's much more compact, and that's why things are a lot smaller, because they don't have the space there. So the Mini was the perfect idea to fulfill what the country needed at that time, and so they built it. It was built on basically a two-platform vehicle. So it was the cabin and the engine compartment. And since then, there's been several different iterations of the car. There's been a convertible, and of course the Clubman, which is kind of the wagon version, although we have to call it the estate car version. So it's interesting that the smallest car in the country at the time has become now a wagon. Do you think there's actually enough room in the back, Roman, to put anything?
I think all of your dogs would fit back there, especially if you lined them up in a really neat order, from smallest to tallest. Yeah, this is the estate version, as the British would say. And I think that it's important to stress that when this car was designed, it was a revolutionary car, just as revolutionary as the Volkswagen Beetle, right? Because what Alec did was he took the wheels of the car and stuck them on the corners, took the engine mounted transversely, and created basically an interior that was almost bigger than the exterior. And that's why this car is so revolutionary. And there's a little known fact, right? I'll see if your listeners know this. In the very first gen Mini, right, there was a way you could warm your hands on a cold day. And guess how you did that?
You stuck them on the engine.
No, you stuck them, and here's the funny thing, because the engine was mounted transversely, which means sideways, the radiator of the engine was actually on the side of the driver's side. So if you stuck your hand where the wheel outlet is, the left front wheel, you could actually warm them up, because that's where the hot air came out. So Mini aficionados know that on cold days you'll see them kind of huddle around the front left wheel.
That's kind of interesting. So again, a lot of groundbreaking ideas with the Mini and trying to make this economical car, but it's really morphed into something completely different. Now owned by, of course, BMW of Germany, and they've really brought all of those German elements into the car and made it much more efficient.
Yeah, they made it a small, compact premium car as opposed to kind of a small everyman subcompact car. And it's been a process, right? The first generation of BMW-owned Minis was still Mini, and now we're really into a car that's grown two sizes from that original car. This is a big car. This is a car that, if you own a CR-V, would feel comfortable, and that's that big.
And it's sort of the maxi Mini at this point. And then, of course, it's been luxurified, if that's actually a word, where BMW have taken the Mini and really given it a luxury accoutrements, including all your things like navigation, your safety features in it, but even design style. I mean, if you look at things like the the wing mirrors, the side mirrors, they're highly designed. They almost look like a Darth Vader helmet in the way that they're put together. Just interior-wise, lots of tech now with their navigation system, using that center dash area, and originally to save money and not to have too many difficult things like wiring the Mini. They had this massive center stack that had everything in it, so there was nothing really in front of the driver.
Yeah, it was a speedometer.
The speedometer was in the middle because it was universal. It was easy to put in. It was simple to operate. Now, of course, modern needs have put the speedometer back above the steering wheel, but at the same time, we're still using that large center circular area to stick the navigation system. But it's so much more than a navigation system. Many have worked hard with BMW's iDrive to now make this sort of mini version of the iDrive where you can rotate through things on there, go through your phone, your music, your radio, car setup, and even get down to things like surfing, different apps on that system. And then they've also taken all their switches and made them very fighter piloty, like the mirrors and the windows and all these sort of things. Starting the car now is a flip switch. It looks like you're engaging some kind of weapon.
Yeah, so Mini always had toggle switches, right? That was one of the iconic designs, and they always had the center stack speedometer, and BMW has taken those and has kind of ran with them, right? So in this car we don't have the speedometer, but in this previous generations you had it at the center, so they've kind of, it really depends on the whim of the designer, so they kind of come and go in some ways in terms of these things. The other thing I think that's important to mention is we're in the base Cooper, right, which is the 3-cylinder, and it's $26,000. That's what the Monroney sticker says. And we've got dual climate control, which is a premium feature. We've got auto stop start. We've got automatic headlights. We've got cruise control. We've got a lot of features that in a base car you wouldn't think that you'd have.
Right.
So it's $26,000 for, and that's a lot of money. You can get a very well appointed Toyota Corolla, a really well appointed Camry for that, if I'm just using kind of a base model number. And so if you go up from here, the one in front of us, that's the Cooper S, and that one is $36,000. So it's an expensive car that has gotten more expensive as BMW has evolved it.
Absolutely, and then there's a lot of other little extra features in here that sort of add-ons. So you got the color surround that shows you your
Sport mode.
You're in sport mode, and it shows you. You can choose the different driving modes. Again, that's a premium feature, right? Driving modes. You can change things. It shows you how you want to drive. Your eco mode, the whole light around turns gray.
Yeah, there's a light around the center display that changes colors based on the kind of driving mode you're in, and there are three modes. So there's green mode, which is economy mode. There's like the mid mode, which is just the central mode, and then there's of course sport mode. And what that does in this car is it makes a sheep sound. No, what that does, that was your phone.
That was my phone, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I have a sheep sound on my phone. But
what it does in this car is it changes the shift points so that when I put it into sport mode, it raises the RPMs of the car. In some of the upper level cars, you can actually change the suspension too, but in this one, we don't have that.
So this is the Cooper, starting at $26,000. The one we're in is actually priced out at $26,000. 130 odd horsepower, 162 pounds-feet of torque, which I actually think is a lot. It's nice to have the torque a little bit higher than the horsepower, which is you don't often see that in vehicles.
It's a heavy car.
Yeah.
It's a heavy car, so let's just do a little test here. Okay, we're on the highway. I'm going to put it into third. The car just jumped to 4,500 RPM, and I'm going to floor it. I would call that leisurely. That acceleration, I would not.
No, it's not a performance car, and we shouldn't think it's a performance car. When we come back, we are also going to be driving the Mini Cooper, the Mini S. Sorry, the Clubman S. Yeah. The Clubman S. Clubman Cooper S. We're going to try driving the better sports version of the vehicle and see how that performs. Listening to Testmiles on FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com. It's Testmiles on FM News 101.
Welcome back to FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to Testmiles. Now we are doing most of the show about Mini today, and we are joined by one of our old friends. Not that you're old, Patrick, but you know you're an older friend of the show who's been on regularly. That's what I'm trying to say. You're young at heart. Patrick McKenna is the product manager and product planning manager, I guess. So you planned bringing the Clubman to the United States.
Yes, indeed. So I didn't do any of the design or engineering, but in the U.S., I helped to decide how many we sell, how much they cost, what features do they have, standard equipment, things of that nature.
So aren't you the guy to talk to about a discount?
That would be the sales department.
You just decide how much money you want for them.
Right.
All right, so let's talk about the Clubman. Jumping back to England, where this sort of concept was designed, as most minis have sort of come from what happened in England. I owned a mini van, which was sort of a version of the Clubman, except not with the back seats and all the nice stuff. And it was quite a useful vehicle back in England. Why was it originally born?
So it was, if we go back to the origins of Mini, late 1950s, Suez oil crisis. So we need a car that's small, is fuel efficient, but has utility. And then that was a tremendous success. And then everything became a derivative of that success. So the minivan that you were talking about, and that was interesting. That's what it was called, the minivan. And this was, decades ago before that term was used for the modern day minivan here in the U.S., but it really became a lot of derivatives of this product. Believe it or not, there was a small pickup truck that was also based on the
Mini. Is that coming back, by the way?
That is not in the plans. There was a minivan, but there was also the Traveler. So the Clubman actually that we're launching is the third generation. So the first one was 1969. And that actually did not come to the United States. That was Mini stopped coming to the U.S. after 1967, and then the next Mini Clubman was in the 2007-2008 time period. So this is our third generation Mini Clubman, but it's completely reinvented.
I was already in love with the car way before that, so I had one out of the press fleet. I'm guessing 2007, around that time. And I got 38 miles a gallon out of it and all my dogs in the bag. Oh, yeah, it was a press car. I probably shouldn't have told you I put my dogs in the bag of a press car. But it was great, and I fell in love with it. And just the fuel economy was like, really? And I live on hills. And so getting that fuel economy out of it was great. So here we are with a small, dynamic, go-kart-like handling, but room for 5 dogs.
Yeah, the last Clubman was really my favorite car. I also have 2 big black labs, and it's great because it's very easy for them to jump into, and it is truly a flat load surface across, especially with the seats down. This car is it's over 12 inches longer than that last generation Clubman. So this really is reinvention. It's on our new platform, the UKL2 platform, which is shared within the BMW group, that, as we call it, the architecture. It's also underneath the new BMW X1. So this is the longest, widest Mini that we've ever had. It is definitely probably the most comfortable, quietest Mini we've ever had, but it still drives like a Mini. It's still fun to drive, but it also has a lot of the amenities. So the first Mini ever with electric seats is an option. The first Mini in the Cooper S with an 8-speed automatic transmission. So a lot of great new features that we've never seen before in the Mini brand.
And of course, one feature we've never seen before, the Chesterfield style couches, which, what was the idea behind that? We were trying to make it more like an Englishman's club.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to have Christopher Weil with us, who's from the exterior design team who worked on this, and they go to the furniture fair in Milan to get some inspiration, and they started to see this Chesterfield sofa kind of trend coming back. And they incorporated that into the design of this new car many years ago, because it takes several years for design of a car really to come into production. And I'm thrilled with it. The indigo blue interior with the Chesterfield diamond pattern is, I think, an interior that you would see on something like even a Bentley, for example. So it's really like it's an interior quality that we've never seen before in Mini, but I also think we've never seen before in a car that's in the mid $20,000 price range as an option.
Now, we of course, are in Savannah, where we had the launch of the car. So there is a theme here, because, I mean, you took us to dinner tonight and you showed us a lot of local craftspeople. But I noticed there was, like, fine liquors and cigars and the Chesterfield sofa. I just more and more, this Mini is becoming my living room.
Yeah, this whole idea of craftsmanship. We've been on a cross-country tour. We went to Miami, Chicago, Brooklyn, New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. And in each one of these places, we're bringing, and now in Savannah with all of you, bringing together local craftspeople, because we think that craftsmanship is alive and well at Mini. We think that the design team really has done a wonderful job in finding these beautiful leather surfaces, and also putting in beautiful stitching, the leather wrapped steering wheel, the soft touch in the dashboard materials. It's really just elevating the look and feel of, and the premiumness of the Mini interior. And what we're trying to do is really redefine what is a premium small car in the world. So I'm really thrilled with where we are, and that's really where craftsmanship comes together with Mini.
You also announced a new car in LA, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. So the third generation Mini convertible will debut in March. So the new Clubman is actually starting to show up in dealerships now, and we'll start retailing now and also in January. And then the brand new convertible comes in March, and that's got all the latest BMW Group engines, just like the Clubman. It pulls over a lot of the new technology and engineering from the F56 hardtop. Some great new colors like Caribbean Aqua in the car. And there's a Chesterfield interior in that car as well. It's not indigo blue, it's malt brown, and it's fantastic, and it just looks stunning. And something I know you will appreciate, a Union Jack for the first time ever embroidered into the convertible top as an option. And when you look closely at it, you'll see a herringbone pattern in that Union Jack that's also in the dashboard material. So great attention to detail.
Patrick McKenna from Mini, thank you very much. If you want to know more, of course, Mini USA is where you can go and find out all the details. And Patrick will be very glad if you buy one of the Minis that he's worked so hard to bring to the United States. When we come back, Roman and I heading down the road in Savannah, Georgia in the S version of the Clubman, and the shenanigans will continue. You're listening to Testmiles and FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with Testmiles.com.
Welcome back to Testmiles at FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles, and we are doing Minis. Basically, all day today, all the show today. We have had segments of Minis on. First of all, we drove the Mini Clubman, the new 2016 Clubman, which is their version of an estate car. We talked to Patrick McKenna about the Mini Clubman and its new form of life, and now we are... my friend Roman Micah is still with us on the show. We're in the brand new Mini Clubman. This is the S version. S standing for what, Roman?
Supersized.
Supersized.
You know what?
Actually, it is a supersized.
Yes, it's the biggest Mini ever.
I am impressed that this Mini, first of all, has gone up from subcompact to compact. Second of all, it's bigger than a VW Golf. but slightly smaller than a Mazda 3. It's actually normal. No, it's not Hobbit-sized anymore.
No, this is a car that is now, in size at least, directly competitive with cars like the Honda HR-V and the Toyota RAV4. So that gives you kind of a sense of how much bigger it's grown. And no, the S does not stand for supersized. It's the sporty version. It's got the bigger turbo, twin power turbo. It's got more power. It's got more pep. It's got more fun to drive, Nick.
It does still look like a Mini, however. The front end, very Mini-like. You could probably put it up against many of the others. But when you sort of look at the back end, it's very different. But I think I prefer the S, the 4-cylinder version. But it's $10,000 more than the non-S.
Yeah, Mini has become a premium product. So you are paying a lot, but at the same time, you're also, according to Mini, getting a lot. So, here you have the heads-up display, you have the more powerful twin power turbo, you have all sorts of creature comforts, you have real leather instead of leatherette, you have a sunroof that goes all the way back.
We should mention the seats in here. It's a beautiful blue interior, but they've sewn these like Chesterfield sofas from British couches.
What is a Chesterfield sofa?
It's what you're sitting on right now. It's sort of this cross-stitch, beautiful, and often has those little buttons in it, but this doesn't have buttons in it. I will tell you a couple of things. Well, we learned something today, didn't we, Roman? We learned starting the car you need to foot on the clutch, but we also learned that the colors around the center display mean things, and when the phone rings it can flash blue. I like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's highly personalizable, if that's something you can describe this car, and not just in terms of what the car does, but in terms of the way that you order the car. And here's an interesting fact: did you know that 30% of Mini buyers actually order their cars, don't get them off the lot? And that's very similar to Porsche. This is probably one of the most highly individualized cars and brands out there right now.
If this was a Rolls Royce or a Bentley, we call it bespoke.
That's right, bespoke. Yeah, but it's not.
But it could be. The materials are much nicer on the inside. The soft touches on the door handles and on the doors are much nicer. Everything is stylized on the inside, including that they have some very interesting dash materials, some very interesting trim materials, and a lot of things are done with LED lights, aren't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of interior, and that is, once again, not something that Mini has pioneered, right? So right now you have little Mini displays, little moonlights that pop out of the side mirrors at night, so it says Mini across the sidewalk when you enter the car. Come in here and you can personalize the interior colors. Ford's done that for a long time, but it's pretty cool.
That, by the way, is our navigation, because it's giving us instructions. We're supposed to take a turning here on our drive. I will also tell you that a lot of stuff on the interior of the car is the speakers in the A-pillars are kind of interesting, but they also have a heads-up display similar to the one that Mazda have.
Yeah, it's not quite the one that displays on the windshield. There's a little plastic screen that pops up, and I'm of two minds on these heads-up displays. I think they're kind of interesting party tricks, but if you're wearing polarized glasses like I'm wearing right now, they're invisible.
Yeah, and of course I can't wear sunglasses because I need reading glasses on. I need glasses on just to see, because I'm a blind old man. And so I don't wear polarized glasses. And of course, when I walk into a TV studio, when I go into Coin and I do my TV segments, if you have the glasses that go dark automatically, of course, as soon as you walk into a building that has TV lights in it, they go dark. So, and you can't be on TV with dark sunglasses on. It's just not done.
Nick, you look good. You're not an old man. You're a let's say you're not a spring chicken, but I'm going to say you're a summer chicken. You've got a lot of...
Nick Miles, car reviewer and summer chicken.
You've got a lot going on, and so does this car. It's kind of this interesting hybrid of sporty, fun, and utility, and I kind of like that, dude.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm going to hit up Mini to see if I can get one for a long-term test drive.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because
the Mini guys told us that with the barn doors open and the seats folded down, you can actually fit a washing machine in the back of this, which is considerably something that you would not think would fit in the back of a Mini, quote unquote.
Right, and if you look at pictures of the first generation Mini from England and then the new Mini version, I think it looks very... this definitely, the back end looks amazing on this vehicle, but it looks very different from what you'd expect. And they call them white goods, by the way. I don't know if you knew that, but what they say is the back of this vehicle is big enough for white goods, so you can get things in like refrigerators, like washing machines, not your full sizes. I don't think necessarily. I don't think it's getting a double wide 33.6 inch refrigerator or what in the back.
Let's call it a European refrigerator.
Yeah.
But I think the important part to mention is it's really all about back seat room, right? So the entrance into the back seat is much bigger, and I'm relatively tall. I'm 6'2", and I sat behind myself in this car, and you know what? My knees did not touch the back of the seat. That's how much more room there is in the back. So if you're looking for a Mini that is useful and is fun to drive, this one may be it. And I got a little bit of a heads up that Patrick gave me as well. He said that eventually there might be an all-wheel drive version of this, because this platform will allow an all-wheel drive system.
All right, now I'm super excited. And then let's get back to the back seat on our final thought here on today's show. The enjoyable thing, of course, your knees not touching the back seat was great for you, and I was extremely excited when I got into that back seat and maneuvered myself into position. The exciting thing for me was my feet actually did touch the floor.
Yes, well, I was going to say, they didn't touch the back of the seat, or just the floor?
They actually touched the floor, so I was quite excited. All right, we're here 24/7 at testmiles.com.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com. Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles on FM News 101 KXL. We have been magically transformed to the Cobo Center here in Detroit. And this is where the North American International Auto Show starts. It happens, the biggest auto show of the year in North America. Max is with me. Max, tell me a little bit about what we can expect at this year's show.
So the buzz is already happening, really. Our theme this year is All Roads Lead to Detroit, which is really exciting. We've partnered with a LeMay Car Museum out in Tacoma, Washington. We're going to drive 3 classic cars over an 11-day cross-country journey. They'll end up just before press day kickoff, and that's just one of the many things that we're looking forward to the launch of the show next year.
Now, I've had a sneak peek. I've got to look inside the hall. Boy, does it look different. You got some fresh stuff happening this year, don't you?
Yeah, from a show perspective, we're really excited. 60% of the show floor is brand new this year, and what that means for attendees is brand new exhibits, brand new displays, which is really exciting because it shows the long-term commitment from the automakers here at the show.
Now, we're looking at one of the things that happens at this show is more reveals here than pretty much any other show in North America. Why are automakers choosing Detroit to show off their latest bling?
So we're honored to be called and distinguished as an international show. So what that really brings in, though, are the international media. So last year we had about 5,100 international journalists represented from over 60 countries. So for automakers looking to make their world debuts of vehicles, this is the spot to be because they can get their biggest bang for the buck and the widest global audience that comes with that.
Now, you have a bunch of new reveals already. I'm hearing numbers like 30 thrown out there, 30 reveals. Is that what we're looking at?
I actually think right now we're on track for over 40, and that's just with the discussions as of this morning. We've still have a few automakers to talk through. So last year we had 55 global or world reveals, and I think we're on track to get another big number like that.
One of the things that was interesting to me is this is the biggest kept secret in the industry. Like a lot of times in LA and New York, the things leak out about what cars are going to be shown. But security here is so tight. I mean, even trying to get from A to B, we're filming some segments with you today here on the floor. You walk through the floor in a camera, and everybody's like questioning why you're in there because these are the big surprises of the year, right?
Yeah, it's really a big secret here, and with that 60% of the show floor being new, these are brand new exhibits. So the automakers are trying even extra harder this year to keep that under wraps because they don't want anything to leak out about the new design or what's going to be happening. So yeah, this year, in addition to other years, it's pretty tight on the floor, that's for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the exciting things that have happened in the last year or so. Kobo's undergone a complete transformation. And I walk in here and I'm like, wait, am I in the right place in a sense too? Freshened up, you guys, you washed it out with bleach and you came up with something that's sparkling.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. I mean, the $300 million transformation that's gone on here at the show is quite breathtaking. I mean, now from our main atrium, you can look all the way out to the International Waterway. On the other side of that, we've got Canada. We've got a 4,000 square foot marquee video board on the front of the building. So really, over the last couple of years, all these improvements have made us into a world-class facility, fitting venue for hosting our auto show, that's for sure.
Let's talk about last year's show. Some amazing vehicles shown last year. Probably the biggest one, and I work closely with one of these manufacturers, and they kept this secret from me, was the new GT from Ford. Ford showed off a car that everybody's been asking for years, and nobody knew it was coming. It was probably the biggest surprise of the auto show year, and it was at Detroit.
Yeah, we're really honored to have the automakers view our auto show as the place to be to make these announcements. And after the show made its debut, what was great for us is reading all the articles after about how this car was basically built in a janitor's closet in Ford and super top secret, and everything's key cards. And actually, they went back to a physical key for the one door to get into this design studio. So that's what I think makes it really exciting, is you see the car make the debut, and then now the stories come out after the fact of really what went into this, and hats off to Ford because that was quite a remarkable reveal they pulled off.
Now, I know you can't tell me anything, but I can at least talk about some of the rumors and some of the things we've seen. I talked to somebody at Lexus recently that told me what they're going to reveal here is a game changer. We're expecting to see the final version of the big Lincoln. We saw the Continental concept. Rumors are flying around that we'll see that. And something which has been the staple of America, the minivan. Chrysler is pretty much said, this might be the place. If you want to see the brand new town and country minivan, this is where it'll be. It'll be unveiled at Detroit. So it's not just trim levels. It's not just out-of-the-way cars. It's not small car companies. The major core of American buyers are going to be buying these vehicles that are going to be unveiled at this show, right?
Yeah, I think every year when you look to the cars that make the reveals at our shows, they are not just trim levels, right? These are brand new platforms that are making their debut and really going to steer the next 4 or 5 years of production vehicles to come, just seeing what here gets unveiled. It's really exciting.
One of the things that blows me away, and I know the local media are kind of all over this story, is the build-out for this. Now, I'll give you great examples. Let's say the auto show in Portland, Oregon, probably a week before they start moving cars in. You guys start in October, right? You start basically putting the show together.
It's wild. It actually takes 12 weeks to build the entire show and then 2 quick weeks to tear it all down. But really what goes into that 12-week build-out are these automakers are almost making mini cities as exhibits. So to your point, like the Portland, Oregon show or other domestic shows, they maybe take 2 weeks to build out. We're 12, so it just goes to show you how extensive and elaborate these exhibits are. It's really quite remarkable what goes into it.
And the manpower that goes into this, I mean, I'm hearing like 1,500 union workers, 18,000 trucks. I mean, there's a lot of work goes in here.
Yeah, really, I actually know a few people that come into town just to work the build-out of Kobo here. I mean, I think people from all around the U.S. come, especially if they're a union contractor or electrician or laborer. They view this as, 2 solid months of heavy-duty work, and then it all gets torn down in a quick 2 weeks. It's really crazy to see as this all comes together. You got to watch yourself on the show floor. You'll get taken out by a high-low if you're not being careful.
There's a lot of things that are kind of exciting about this, as well as the number of reveals. We can talk about other things too. You talk about the refreshed hall. I mean, I'm seeing new wine bars popping up in the middle of places. I'm seeing a lot of new stuff going up. But really the core of this show happens when? What are the dates? When do the public come? When are press days?
So press days are the 11th and 12th of January. After press days, we kind of lead into a different part of the show, which we call industry preview. Last year, we had over 35,000 engineers come down over those 2 days. Followed by then that Friday of the January 15th is our charity preview event. It's our Black Tie Gala. It's actually the largest single night fundraiser in the nation. Last year we raised over $5.3 million that goes directly to 8 children's charities here in Metro Detroit. And then everything kicks off for the public that Saturday, January 16th. And the show runs from the 16th to the 24th for public days. And last year we were lucky enough to have over 800,000 people come through the doors.
Now, if people want to find out more about the show, when it starts, where tickets are available, and what they can see, where do they go?
One-stop shop, you can go to our website, which is naias.com, NAIAS.com, and you can see dates, videos from last year, photos, connect on our social media channels, look at travel information, and then stuff outside of Kobo too, restaurants and venues and everything. So it's a great resource. Any questions, we encourage people to go there.
I might throw in a shameless plug here. If you go to that website too, you might be able to see some of my videos introducing some of the key people that make this show happen, and also teasing some of the exhibits. Thanks so much, Max, for being with us. You're listening to Testmiles and FM News 101 KXL 24/7, the website testmiles.com. We'll be back soon.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.